At some point in your life, you have probably found yourself walking away from something that truly mattered to you, not because you weren't capable of achieving it, but because other people made you believe you weren't, little by little, without even realizing it. You began to see yourself through their eyes. Now, ask yourself this question. How much of your life is truly built on your own decisions? And how much of it has been shaped by the opinions, fears, and expectations of others? The truth is, people don't just speak words once. Sometimes, their voices stay with us until they become our own. This is a story about what happens when someone finally refuses to carry those voices any longer. Listen carefully. Her name was Meilin. She was 42 years old, a teacher in a quiet Chinese village, a woman who had spent 15 years building confidence in other people's children, while quietly losing her own. Meilin had one dream. She had never spoken aloud. To complete a marathon. One evening, with trembling hands, she quietly registered for a marathon when she told her husband, Yukai. He slowly put down his teacup and said, "Meilin, you have never even run 1 kilometer in your life." Her village physician, Guoliang, was even more direct. At your age, and with your knees, this is not a goal. It is an injury waiting to happen. Some of the younger teachers at the village school laughed and said, "Teacher Meilin, marathons are for athletes, not for ordinary people like us." That night, Meilin sat quietly for a long time. She thought about everything they had said and wondered if they were right. Then, she looked at her marathon registration once again. She took a deep breath and whispered to herself, "Let's see how far I can go." The next morning, she told no one. Before the sun rose over the village, while her family was still asleep, she quietly stepped outside and began to run. On the first day, she managed only about 200 meters before she had to stop. She returned home without saying a word. The next morning, she went out again. This time, she reached 300 meters, then 400, then 500. One morning, she stumbled on a rocky path and scraped her knee. It bled, but the injury was minor. She cleaned the wound at home. The following morning, she ran again. That day, Meilin completed 1 full kilometer without stopping, for the first time in her life. Slowly, her breathing found its rhythm, her legs found their strength, and her confidence found its proof. Month after month, 1 kilometer became 2, 2 became 5, 5 became 10, 10 became 18. Whenever her knee ached, she learned to rest without giving up. Whenever her pace felt slow, she reminded herself that finishing mattered more than speed. 18 months later, Meilin stood at the starting line of her very first marathon. Around her were runners who were younger, stronger, and far more experienced. Many had trained for years, but she did not compare herself with anyone. She focused only on running her own race. The marathon began. She ran steadily, keeping a pace she knew she could maintain. Around the 30-kilometer mark, her body began to struggle. Every step became heavier. Stopping felt easier than continuing. But then, she remembered every voice that had told her she would never make it. She remembered every reason people had given for why she did not belong there. And she kept moving forward, step by step by step. 4 hours and 51 minutes after the race began, Meilin crossed the finish line. She looked down at the number pinned to her shirt, smiled quietly, and whispered, "I did it." 1 year later, Meilin had completed 3 marathons. She also started a small weekend running group for women over 40 in her village. And slowly, something beautiful happened. The same people who once doubted her began asking her how to begin. People will tell you many things throughout your life. They will tell you the right age to start, the right time to try, the right moment to believe in yourself. But here is what very few people ever tell you. The people who place limits on you have often never gone beyond the limits they placed on themselves. Yukai was not wrong from where he stood. Guoliang was not wrong based on his experience. The younger teachers were not wrong according to the world they knew, but every one of them saw Meilin through the lens of who they were, not through the lens of who she was capable of becoming. That is the first lesson this story teaches us. Other people's doubt is not a measure of your potential. It is only a reflection of their own perspective. The second lesson is this. Meilin should have told everyone about her training. Instead, she chose silence, and that silence became her shield. Because when you share an unfinished dream with the wrong people, their doubt can enter your heart before your belief has had time to grow strong roots. Protect what is still growing. And finally, remember this. Meilin did not have stronger knees than you. She did not have more free time. She did not have endless support. What she had was a decision. And in the end, that is all any of us truly have. Think about the dream you have been carrying quietly, the dream you stopped talking about, the dream you locked away because someone else's voice became louder than your own. Ask yourself, honestly, are you waiting for other people to believe in you first? Because if you are, you may spend your entire life waiting. If this story touched something inside your heart today, carry it with you. The next time someone tells you it is too late, too difficult, or too unlikely, remember Meilin and begin anyway. May peace, courage, and perseverance always walk with you.